The following is a special presentation of the Decibel Geek podcast.
This is the Decibel Geek podcast with Chris Sinzak and Aaron Camaro.
Driving down the road doing 95 miles per hour. Oh yeah, my radio's blasting and I'm passing cars.
All right, here we are, lucky number 13, right? Yeah, this is the Decibel Geek podcast. My name is Aaron Camaro, joined as always in one way or another. Sometimes he's here, sometimes it's a pandemic and he's on Skype. That's today. It's Chris Sinzak. What's going on your end of the world, brother?
Same stuff as always. I miss seeing you, but happy we can still do it through the magic of technology.
Yeah, these quarantine sessions have been great. I'm glad we're doing them. We're already up to number 13. As you guys know, we got another awesome guest with us today. We're going to answer your questions. That's right, the Decibel Geek listeners, whether they're turning them in the Decibel Geek community or on the Decibel Geek Facebook page. I believe those are the best places to do it. If you're sending us your questions, then we're going to do our best to try to answer them today, just like we have been in the last 12 weeks before this. So, a lot of cool things going on in the world of Decibel Geek, especially this. I got to bring it up right off the top of the show. What is Chartable?
It's a website that kind of like, they pull in all the, I guess I mostly use Apple iTunes as the basis for their charts, but they do podcast charting for different podcasts all over the world.
That's cool. I've seen that a few times, like have people point it out and go, hey, Decibel Geek's rated here and Decibel Geek's rated there over the years. But this last week, Chartable came out with the top 60 that they listed all-time music history podcasts. And lo and behold, out of all the podcasts in the music history category of all time, these guys have been keeping track of ratings, and we rank in the top 10. We came in at number 10.
Yep, right behind Robert Plant.
I was just going to say that. That's wild.
Yeah, that's it was a really cool surprise. I check it every once in a while. I'll look. They also do a good job at kind of cultivating Apple reviews too. So anytime I look for reviews of the show, that's usually where I go. And I just happened to notice that, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So, yeah, if you're not ranked 10 or lower, then bow down and kiss our ass.
And also know this, we're coming for you, Dolly Parton.
That's right. My boobs are almost as big as hers right now. So.
Rock and roll. We're on our way. So last week on the show, we had David from 8 Ball, and, man, he was awesome. Chris, I got to tell you something. Billy Hardcore? He's got the album Lust in his collection.
He texted me also.
That's awesome. He said he could kick himself in the ass for not having it at Rockin' Pod last year when he could have had Dave sign the album. And what a trip it would have been for David to see somebody bring up the Lust album for him to autograph.
And he texted me the images of it, and I just responded, is there anything you don't own?
Right, yeah. I told him, man, you got to rip me a copy of that and send it, please. Please send it.
Yeah, I'm really interested to hear what it sounds like because I've never heard the band before.
I've only heard a couple of songs, and I like the songs that I heard, so I'm looking forward to hopefully Billy hooking us up and we can check out the rest of that, since it seems to be a rarity or some kind of archaeological find, I guess. But that's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know what? David, I don't think really knew what to expect when he came on the show, especially when we started rattling off some of your questions at him. But, man, he played along, cool as can be, answered all the questions. We had a good time. And I've been jamming on that new album, Love Struck, all week long. And, man, I'm digging it a lot. I can't wait for everybody else to get to hear it.
Yeah, we'll definitely share that once it's officially out. But, yeah, I've enjoyed really listening to it. It's a go into the louder you play it, the better it sounds. And, we'll definitely keep people apprised of what's going on with that once it comes out.
Shoot, yeah. So speaking of that, all the awesome people that shared and retweeted last week's episode, the Quarantine Sessions, number 12, with David Bush from 8 Ball, those people are our Geeks of the Week. Oh, shit. We don't have Geeks of the Week. Chris, what happened?
Yeah. It's really sad. I must be getting senile in my old age. I really got to cut back on alcohol because I got this morning, super early today, I got the questions together. I got the Apple Podcast review, and I completely spaced on getting Geeks of the Week together. It's not like I do it every week or anything.
Well, damn. What can you do? Shit happens, I guess,
every
once in a while.
I will put the list together, and we will share on social media everyone who shared it, because I really appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, for sure. Always. But we do, check this out, we do have a podcast review. Man, we're in all kinds of disarray this week. This one's entitled The Friends of Rock. It's an Apple Podcast review. All 5 stars are there. And it goes like this. Listening to Chris and Aaron is like hanging out with good friends and talking music. The pod has become one of my favorites. Keep it up, you guys. You rock. That comes to us from a name that's too small for me to read.
It says tie stick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man. It's like that stuff that's tied to a stick, man.
Awesome. Sweet review. We love them. Podcast reviews on Apple. We like the reviews or the recommendations on Facebook. And the Podchaser reviews are cool, too. So if you guys want to take the time to do that, we'll read your review on the show and tell you how awesome you are. As awesome as Tie Stick is, if you know what I mean.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let's see. What else we got? One more thing to tell you about, other than the obvious, Facebook page, Decibel Geek TV, all the good stuff that comes along with this show. Coming up very soon, if it's not released already, Chris and I are going to be on the Cassius Morris TV show. It's going to be sweet.
Yeah, that was really cool of him to ask us to come on. And if you haven't kind of got a chance to hear our history, like we talk about how Aaron and I met at the early days of the show. There's a lot of cool behind-the-scenes talk on this, and we couldn't be happier to have Cassius have us on.
Yeah, and unlike the podcast, you actually will get to see us on this one, so I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, that's not a selling point, Aaron.
Well, Chris did manage to keep his clothes on, so I'll let you know that it is safe to watch with your children in the room.
Yeah, but not like today where I'm completely buck naked right now.
As I'm told is our guest. And, man, I guess it's time to get right to the questions because we got a bunch of them. So we got to introduce you. It's been a long time coming. This is a guy I met at Rockin' Pod. I don't know how long Chris has known him. I guess we'll figure all that out. But one of everybody's favorite Canadians. We got so many great questions, especially for our guest today, the one and only, the host of the Tramps Like Us, Bruce Springsteen podcast. Yep, it's real. And this is Lee McCormick. What's going on, brother?
Hey, how's it going, fellas? Coming at you live and in the flesh from the Great White North here, just outside of Toronto, Ontario. Feeling good tonight. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, so happy to have you, man.
Yeah.
Canadian Heartbreaker on the line with us.
That's right. Yeah, man, I'm a fan of the show and I'm a friend of the show. And, I really, love this whole podcast community of friends and shows and everything like that. So I'm really looking forward to having some fun with you guys tonight.
It is pretty cool, man. You think about that through doing these podcasts and all that. The people from all different walks of life, from all different parts of the world, have become like friends and family through all of this. It's so cool.
It's very cool, and the thing I love about all of us podcasters, and we're all like music nerds, but it's like we all agree and all disagree on different things with each other, right? So I just love all the little conversations back and forth, and I love this, and oh yeah, I love that too, and oh, I hate that, and it's just great fun,
Brought us all together.
And as the organizer of Rockin' Pod, I have to thank Lee right off the top. Lee, every year that we do the podcaster jam at the end of the day, Lee is the guy behind that. He basically came to me the first year and was like, "Do you care if we put a jam together?" I'm like, "As long as you do the work, then I'm fine with it."
Yeah.
And he does an incredible job every year. And it's also good to have you at Rockin' Pod every year because we have to have one male piece of eye candy there every year. And you're right.
Well, I'm not going to argue with you there, Chris, but what can I say, man? I love playing music, and I'm a musician, and I'm a passionate, live entertainer, and I just love doing stuff like that. So I think that's been a lot of fun. The last 3 Rockin' Pods is just at the end of the night, just getting some guys together and kind of putting together an hour-long jam and just having some fun. And, I think it really captures the spirit of the event. And, it's so much fun. There's been some great moments that have come out of that the last 3 years. But Chris, you've never come up to jam with us. Each time you threaten us with some guitar playing, but you're always busy when we jam those nights.
Yeah, it's like becoming an annual tradition for me to bow out of doing it. But,
Next time, man. Number four.
Yeah, last year I was really gonna do it, and then my daughter started feeling really crappy at the end of the day, and I was just at that point I was like, you know what, I could use an hour escape to get out of this building, so I took advantage and I left, and I did that much to my chagrin, but I definitely hope to do it in the future. But if we can do an electric one again, I don't know if we're gonna be able to do it with the venue. Last week I taught myself how to play AC/DC's "Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be," so I would love to play that song.
Yeah, man. And like you were saying, though, like even like the one that we had to cancel for this summer, unfortunately, you were saying we'd have to do an unplugged kind of acoustic thing because it wasn't really a setup for a live, kick-ass loud rock band. But, I was even looking forward to that. That can always be a lot of fun, too, kind of just breaking it down and doing like a MTV Unplugged kind of jam. That would have been fun.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely. And Aaron made his debut last year.
That's right. I rocked it out last year.
Yeah, beer bottle in hand, microphone in the other.
That's my one regret. Looking back, I was like, man, I probably should have set down the beer bottle before I got up on stage. But it was like, it was my second one after all day at Rockin' Pod, and I just couldn't part with it, not even for a moment.
You're doing an Ace Frehley song.
Right, yeah, it's getting into character too,
Yeah, it fit, man. It fit, yeah.
Let's see, I got the silver jacket. I got the platform shoes that are silver. What's missing? Oh, silver bullet. There we go. Perfect. Rock on.
Yeah, so before we get into we have an amazing assortment of questions from listeners this week. Before we get into that, you have a new single out. So, you're an actual working musician. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I'm pleased to be able to spread the word on your show there, Chris and Aaron, about my new song, Train to Heartbreak, that I've just released as a vinyl 7-inch record. It's available digitally on like Apple Music. You can listen to it. You can download it there for $1.98. You can stream it on Spotify if you want to do that. Train to Heartbreak, Lee McCormick. The B-side is a song called Every Night's a Saturday Night. 2 songs that I wrote, kind of rock and roll, kind of rockabilly kind of thing. And, the cool thing about this record, these 2 songs, is that I recorded them last summer at Memphis' Sun Studio. And it was right after the Nashville Rockin' Pod. I drove to Memphis and I recorded these songs at the legendary, birthplace of rock and roll, Sun Studio. So it was such a big thrill to be able to record some of my music in this legendary studio where some of my absolute rock and roll heroes recorded their first songs. Like Johnny Cash, Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, Roy Orbison, B.B. King, Howlin' Wolf. All these guys recorded there. And now I'm part of the list, right? I've recorded a couple of songs there, and I think I was able to capture some of that Sun magic. I think the feel and the sound of Sun Studio, I think I was able to get on these 2 songs, and I'm very proud of it. So I encourage people to have a listen, check it out if you dig it. You can buy it from me. Moonviolet.com is the website. That was my band, Moonviolet, but this song I'm releasing under my own name, Lee McCormick. So you can order it directly from me there. Or like I said, the digital version is out there. And also check out, there's a video we did. It's on YouTube, Train to Heartbreak, and it shows us actually recording at Sun Studio. And it's just amazing. Just a thrill of a lifetime,
That's awesome. So cool. Yeah. And that all tied in with you coming to Nashville for Rockin' Pod.
Absolutely. Like every time I come to Nashville, it's like it's so close to Memphis. It's like I got to go to Memphis, right? Because I love Memphis just as much as Nashville, right? So it's always a great rock and roll road trip. And having been to Sun Studio so many times as a tourist, and just loving that whole tour and the whole room and the vibe of that studio, and now to be able to record there is a big thrill, So it's great to have it on a vinyl 45 record too,
That's so great that you're doing it on vinyl. I think that's. I have to get a copy of that for sure. But I have to ask, you said the song's called Train to Heartbreak, and I know you're talking about like a train that's on the tracks, but you're Lee McCormick, the Canadian heartbreaker, so I'm guessing that you are working hard to train to heartbreak.
That's right. That's right. Training the ladies, man. This is what's going to happen. Your heart could get broken. Don't get ready.
See, and it's cool how people can hear something and get a totally different interpretation of it, because I actually saw it as like Lee McCormick was a part of a train with a whole bunch of ladies, and in the end, it would all end in heartbreak. So, that's the beauty of the art. It's in the eye and the ears of the beholder.
It always ends in heartbreak, no matter what you're going to do. It's going to be some heartbreak at the end of the line,
So we've already referenced Lee running a train, so this is great stuff.
All right, we're off to a good start here.
Now that is some sort of Decibel Geek record, I'm sure.
Man, a good songwriter lets the listener interpret the lyrics the way they want to. So
yeah, and we interpret it right into the gutter.
There you go. Whatever sells records, man. Whatever sells records.
Awesome,
right?
Yeah. But yeah, man. Seriously, I hope you check with the video, because it's cool to see me actually recording in that same room, right? That little 40 by 30. It's just a small little studio in Memphis, and just the vibe. There's such a vibe there, and the room is 50, 60, 70 years old now, but it's the same tiles on the floor.
Yep.
Same doors and wood frames and everything, and so it's.
They also have the X on the floor where Elvis stood.
Nice.
Well, that's the thing. Where you record the vocals, they put you in the Elvis spot, man. This is where Elvis stood when he recorded the vocal, right? And that's where you stand, and that's where you're standing right there doing a vocal take. I love it.
So cool.
That is awesome.
So we've got quite an assortment of questions this week, huh, Aaron?
Yeah, a whole bunch of different kinds of stuff to wonder and ponder on that we can really sink our brains into. I haven't really had too much of a chance to go over the list a little bit. I added a few that were left off right at the end, but I guess we can just jump right into it.
Ready.
All right, so these first ones are going to come to us from Instagram. Thanks again to all the listeners that have been sending in all these different great questions, no matter how you're doing it, Instagram, Twitter, mostly Facebook. If we miss you, I guess somewhere along the line we'll go back and collect all the ones we missed and maybe try to get to them, or we'll figure it out somehow. But it's never malicious, just, I don't know, shit happens. So the first one's from D. Noonan, 5150. He wonders if we have any thoughts on River Dogs. He says their debut album is one of my favorites. I'm not familiar with River Dogs. What about you guys?
I am. It was an album that Vivian Campbell put together in 1990.
Oh.
I can't exactly remember who else was. I don't know if anyone else known was in the band, but I do remember it coming out. I at the time it came out, though, I didn't know about it. It was years later that I discovered it. Because it did fly under the radar, but had a big label deal. But this was right as things were changing. And I actually did go back and listen to it today. I listened to it a few years ago, and I forgot how really well done the album is, but almost to its detriment considering the time it came out. So it's real slick, very, polished, AOR rock record is what it is. But listening back to it, God, Vivian Campbell is such a monster guitar player. It really reflects well on him. I don't know that the songs are completely there. It's a great record for what it is, but the timing of it probably could have been better. If it came out 2 years earlier, it probably would have had more of a dent in the market. But it's very, and I hate to say this, but it's kind of adult contemporary rock, I guess you could say. It's very slick. I do like it, though. I enjoyed it, and I'm probably going to listen to it a lot this week now that it got brought up.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about them. I know about the Vivian Campbell connection, and I remember them in the late 80s, but I didn't really pay much attention to them. And they've kind of put out records sporadically over the last 30 years, right? It's not like they just put out one record. They put out 4 or 5 or something like that, and a new one over the last 2 or 3 years, right? Yeah,
they've had... I'm looking it up now. They had, and yes, I'm looking on Wikipedia, Cobras and Fire. They had 4 records between 90 and 93, and then they came back and did one in 2011 and 2017.
All right, yeah. But it's just kind of like Def Leppard, kind of hard rock kind of stuff too, right? AOR. Yeah,
more adult contemporary than even Def Leppard, really.
Really, yeah.
But yeah, it's a good record. It's just it's melodic rock, AOR type stuff.
It's the stuff that wasn't heavy enough to be included on the Def Leppard records.
Yeah, I hate to agree with you on that, but you're right.
Oh man, that's terrible. All right, Don Hoxie wants to know, I would like to hear about your personal CD collections, if you still collect CDs, and what will you do when they stop pressing discs? Don't ever say that. Never. Don't, please, never stop. I can't stop.
Yeah. I have a lot of CDs. I probably have about 2,000 to 3,000 CDs, probably. Yeah. And I still buy them. I mean, like, I buy vinyl a lot these days, and I probably buy just as many CDs, you know, like, I just got to have it. And I don't like digital format. I don't like numbers and just files. You know, I need a physical copy, so I either want it on vinyl or a CD. But I still love a CD box sets and compilations and big, you know, booklets and liner notes. I love that stuff, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I've got one habit in the world or one thing that I really like, you know, really like doing, is CD hunting. I've got a list on the Google Drive, and it's like if I'm doing research for the show, or like, for example, River Dogs, you know, and now I'll go back and go, okay, I need to add that to the list. And so when I get to a music store or something, I'll open it up and see what's on my want list, you know, and go through and be like, oh, I already got that one. Because eventually I had to make the list just to keep that from happening. I'd been getting so many doubles that I kind of had to start putting the list together like that. So, I mean, that's one of the thrills of my life, is to get out there and hit a music store and do a little CD hunting and see what kind of treasures I can find. Sometimes I find stuff that's on my want list. I go, yes, you know, I've been wanting this for a long time, and the price is right, and I'll get it, you know. And then other times I'll see stuff and go, this is pretty cheap, and they look cool. I'm going to give it a shot, you know. So I got a bunch of CDs down below that I need to check out. I got all the ones that are on my list up above, which is a pretty massive CD collection, but it's the thing that I really dig. That's like my true personal hobby, other than like doing the Decibel Geek podcast, is CD hunting, because it's a thrill to me to find the cool ones, you know, and discover new stuff. And then if it ever comes up on the show, or I need to research something, contrary to popular belief, we don't just go to the Wikipedia. I prefer to actually pull the CD off the rack, pull the sleeve out of it, and get out a magnifying glass and see what's going on in here.
Well, I mean, CDs were so great for like deluxe editions and bonus tracks and like outtakes and rarities. So if you're a collector, a fan of a band that wants to have everything, like, you got to have all the CDs to have all the bonus tracks and all that stuff that you don't really get on vinyl, right?
Yep.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm still mostly vinyl as far as collecting goes, but I'm not gonna lie. Like, I used to have a ton of CDs. I ended up selling a lot of them off. I've still got probably, and I'm looking at them right now, probably 150 Nashville unsigned metal band CDs that from a website that I used to run. But I did go garage sailing a couple of weeks ago and found like some really cool shit on CD. And you know, I initially, and Aaron will tell you this, I texted him, I'm like, do you need any of these? And he had them all, but, you know, it was kind of fun, you know, shopping for CDs again. And also, it's much easier to rip a CD to digital than it is a vinyl record. So, you know, maybe sure. I might have a new addiction. I might start collecting CDs again.
Yeah.
Right.
In the glory days of CD shopping there in the mid to late 90s, I had a buddy that worked at a record store, and he used to get CDs at cost. So every 2 weeks, like every time I got paid, me and him would take like a trip down to the downtown superstore, and we would just buy like 10, 12 CDs each, and we would get them all at like cost, right? So like CDs for $20 we would get for like $9, right? So every 2 weeks we would drop like $200-300 and get like, you know, 15 CDs each. It was amazing.
That's awesome. See, and the other side of that for me now is the iPod I got. So now I'm actually going through my CDs, listening to them, take them with me in the car for the day, and then listen and decide which ones are now iPod worthy. So then I gotta break it down and take those songs and put them in the iPod. So it's like it's a musical journey of discovery of new stuff and stuff that I haven't listened to in a while, and it's never ending, and that's my life.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Great question, Don.
And to finish that one off, I've talked about this with a couple of different people that are in the know, like work at music stores, what's left of them, and people at labels and things that we've got to meet through the show. And it's been told to me over and over again that they'll never stop completely pressing CDs. You know, as long as, you know, somebody's buying them, they're always going to make them. And eventually it might come to the day where you only get they're only going to press what you order, but you'll always be able to get CDs. They're never going away. And they figure someday, just like albums, just like everything else, the CDs will make a huge return too.
Yep. I've told you that, Aaron. I guarantee Aaron is sitting on a gold mine, because I have a feeling once the vinyl trend wears itself out, it's going to turn to CDs. And all of a sudden, CDs are going to be the end thing again. Mm-hmm. And he's going to have a gold mine on his head. But then every time I've told that to Aaron, he's like, well, I'm not selling them. I'm keeping them.
Selling this shit. It took me too much time and so much joy collecting it all.
Mm-hmm.
I have so many CDs, Aaron, but do you have yours in any kind of chronological, alphabetical order? Like, if you wanted to find, like, Twisted Sister, Stay Hungry, could you find it in 5 seconds, or is it going to take you half an hour to search for it, you know?
No, I could get right up and walk over there and pull it right off the rack right now. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
That's the way. Love it. Love my CDs.
Yeah, man.
All right. Let's see. One more from Instagram. Oh, a couple more. Three Tigers, Spokane. If Gene Simmons is the Cookie Monster, who are the other members of KISS, past and present, persona, on Sesame Street represented by? So Gene Simmons is Cookie Monster. I would say Peter Criss has got to be Oscar the Grouch, right?
Yeah, for sure. Peter's Oscar, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Let's see. I'd have to say Ace is probably Elmo.
I don't know if Ace is that lovable, but maybe.
He is. He's everybody's favorite.
All I could come up with as Paul Stanley is definitely Bert.
I was going to say Bert's a little anal retentive, kind of like Paul Stanley.
Yeah, Paul Stanley's definitely Bert.
Eric Singer is Ernie.
Ace might have a bit of the count in him, like, you know, when the count would count, and he would just start laughing. 5. They might get along, you know, the count and Ace.
I thought Vinnie Vincent was the Oscar the Grouch because he's garbage, but that's just my opinion.
Vinnie Vincent was the Snuffleupagus for a while because he was so elusive, right? Nobody knew if he existed or not.
All right, that's a good one.
Oh, nice. Wow. Great question.
I love that. Only our listeners will come up with that question.
Great question. I like it. All right. Here's one sounds familiar. It's from MDG Rock Picks. What has been everyone's favorite Quarantine Sessions episode, and why was it the one I was on? I would say that was one of my favorites for sure. I don't know. They've all been awesome. To me, it almost feels like one long show that is giantly stretched on now.
Yeah. It's. I've enjoyed all of them. They've all been good for different reasons.
They've all had their moments. That's for
obviously,
sure.
I like all of them that I've won the trivia game in.
Yeah, and as a listener and a guy that kind of knows, you know, some of the listeners and some of the podcasters, it's cool to hear, you know, which podcaster is going to interact with which question this week. You know, so I've listened to a handful of them, and they're good. They're good, man.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun for sure. We'll make some moments here today too. Yet I'm certain of it. Yeah, awesome. Jay Shabluski. This one's for Lee. He wants to know, will cruise ships recover from this? And if so, will you be working on one? And he tells us we're 3 cool cats.
Yeah, well, that's a given. I don't know about the cruise ship industry. I worked on cruise ships between like 2007, 2011, like constantly as an orchestra show drummer. So I would be working on these cruise ships for about 4 or 5 months at a time and playing drum gigs like every day. And in recent years, I've been working in a Beatles tribute band who work as a guest entertainer, who kind of they get treated kind of better, they get paid well, they don't have to work as much, and you're doing proper kind of production shows in the theater. And that kind of thing is you would go on a cruise ship for a week, do a couple of shows, and then go off, do another cruise ship, and you're kind of always bouncing around to different cruise ships and doing this show, right? So, you know, the cruise ship industry's kind of got to bounce back. It's such a $1 billion industry, right? It's like there's so much money to be lost. I don't know how, but, you know, those things are like just petri dishes on water, and I think the first thing that's going to go might be these guest entertainer acts like the Beatlemaniacs that I play with, or the comedians, or the jugglers, or the dancers, and they might just stick with kind of production shows and just kind of entertainment that's contained within the cruise lines instead of these outside entertainers that come on and off. But I don't know. I was talking to a friend about that the other day. Like, if they offered me another gig, to do this Ringo tribute on a ship, I don't know if I would do it. I might have to ask for more money, or even that. It's kind of sketchy these days. I don't know if I really need to do it anymore.
Yeah,
right.
It's a strange time. Still all this time later, no one really is 100% sure. What exactly, how it's passed back and forth and all that. So
yeah.
It's funny, on the subject of cruise ships. Cruise ships is one of the two musical gigs that I turned down when I was in my early 20s that could have paid me really well and would have been really fun, but I decided I was going to be a rock star with my new metal band in Nashville, and I didn't do it. Like, I got offered a job on, was it Princess Cruise Lines? I don't even know if they're still around anymore.
Yeah,
but,
Princess is a big one. Yeah, that's one I worked for 3-4 years.
Oh, did you? Well, there was a guy named Scott who lived out in the area that I lived in, and he was like, "Well, I play on a cruise ship, and we make great money, and we get to travel all over the world." And I'm like, "No, I'm going to make it with my band, man." And I still, to this day, regret not taking that gig. But so I view Lee McCormick as the what could have been of my life.
I mean, I have no regrets, and that was specifically I had a full-time job, and I was working in an office, and I kind of just had a bit of a meltdown one day, and I just said, fuck it, and I quit my job, and I went and I cut a mohawk into my hair, right? And I said, I'm just going to go work on cruise ships for 3 or 4 years. I broke up with a girl. That was a big part of it at the same time, too, right? But it was just so much fun to just play drums in the Caribbean, and you're meeting, all kinds of people from all over the world and partying, and you're on the beach in the day, and you're playing drums at night, and you're drinking and partying, and it's good times, right? It's a good way to see the world. But I've a lot of great things about cruise ships, but it's weird now.
So, yeah. Sure. Thank you for confirming that I made the wrong decision.
Nice. All right. So here's one from Hakan Bergstad. He wants to know, what do you know about Norwegian prog metalers Conception? In my opinion, their albums Parallel Minds and In Your Multitude are probably in the top 10 Norwegian metal albums. You guys know about Conception?
I know nothing about Conception.
Oh, man.
I didn't know anything. I saw the questions, just a little bit before we started recording here, so I took a quick peek, and I've never heard any of this before. Like, it's technically good, it just doesn't really move me. This is like that power metal, prog metal, which is probably in some of my least favorite, sub-metal genres, but it doesn't really rock and roll. It's hard to dance to, but it's technically proficient. Like, these guys are obviously great musicians and everything like that. It's just not my bag,
Right. Yeah, you got to respect it for how good it is. For the way my brain works, I think, anyway, it's where AC/DC and Kiss or something I can easily, enjoy. Something like that, when you're listening to it, and you got to sit and wonder how they're doing that shit, and how is this possible? It kind of takes you out of the song. It's amazing, right. But it's like seeing fireworks,
Well, on his suggestion, I am going to take a listen, and I'll try to report back on what I think.
And that's the cool thing about doing these quarantine episodes, because now last week I spent some time listening to a Midnight album that I said I had, and ended up circling back around where I had mentioned I thought our friend Omid was a part of that. So I reached out to Omid, and he told me that he was once part of a record label that this band Midnight was a part of, and I've been digging this album, so I'm going to check out some more of it. But speaking of that, it reminds me, just like to do a quick shout out to 3 of our friends. They're kind of going through a tough time right now, talking about Ralph Vieira, Andrew Jacobs, and Omid Torn. And, without getting into too much detail or none of that, just, you guys, we love you, and we're pulling for you, and rock on.
Definitely.
Keep on trucking.
Grayson Galagos, he wants to know, it's your birthday. What are you having? Cake or pie? What flavor?
The hard-hitting question. I'm having pie, and it would be it's probably more of a southern thing, but it's called chess pie.
Chess pie.
I've had that stuff.
It's like a meringue.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely having pie too, and my absolute favorite dessert, and I eat this every birthday, is lemon meringue pie. And I just love lemon meringue pie. And actually, a couple of years ago, I'm at my place, and a girlfriend of mine, she's hanging out, and we're having dinner. And I'm sitting like kind of by the TV, and she's like, "Let me bring you your dessert." And I'm like, "Oh, I'll get it." And she's like, "No, let me get it." All right, so she goes in the kitchen, and she's cutting me a piece of lemon meringue pie. And she's taking a bit long to cut it, and I'm calling, like, "Is everything all right?" She's like, "Yeah, don't worry, I'll be right there." Right, and then she comes around the corner, right, buck naked, carrying a big piece of pie, and she had some meringue, like, spread strategically on her body, right? So,
Wow.
Oh my God.
True story.
I know, and that's the sad thing, is you're like the one podcaster who could say true story on that.
So yeah, definitely pie on the birthday.
Yeah, I can see why lemon meringue might be special to you. I can see that. Let's see. I don't know how to top that. Jeez, wow.
You can't.
No, I'm not even going to try. Let's just move on. Al Horta wants to know, what female-fronted hard rock band from the 80s do you think should have been bigger? My pick would have been Soraya. Great melodic hard rock band with a killer and beautiful female-fronted Sandy Soraya.
That's a good choice. I mean,
I'm not too familiar with it. I've heard of it, but I'm not real familiar with it.
Like, we played a Soraya song a couple of years ago, and they were great. I think you picked it, Aaron. Or maybe it was Kevin Williams. I can't remember. But I don't know. That's a good one. I don't know. There's a lot of good ones out there. I mean, Vixen, I thought probably should have been bigger than they were. I don't know. There's good stuff out there. There's a lot of. What about you, Lee?
I don't know about the 80s, right? Like, if you had said any other decade, like if we were talking the 70s, like, I love the Runaways, right? I think the Runaways should have been a huge band, but they kind of missed their mark. And then if we look at the 80s, I mean, Joan Jett and Lita Ford were pretty big, and I think they were probably as big as they should have been in the 80s, which was pretty big, And, there's Lee Aaron, but, I wasn't really a big fan of hers. And, Vixen, not really. And if we look in the 90s, I mean, we could talk about the Donnas or Elastica or the Cardigans in the 90s. But the 80s, I don't know. I kind of thought maybe Shonen Knife. They were like I don't know if they count. They're like almost like a Japanese punk band, almost like Ramones core kind of punk. They started in the 80s. I don't know. Maybe Shonen Knife. That would be my pick.
What about Smash Gladys?
Oh yeah, I got one of their albums. It's really good.
They were great. And then if I'm going 90s, I'll go close to home for Lee. What about Sass Jordan?
Yeah, she was all right. Sass Jordan had some heavy stuff there in the 90s. Even like Lee Aaron, she was going into more of a cleaned up, away from the metal kind of pop hard rock thing like Sass Jordan in the 90s, yeah. But the 80s, there's just not many in the 80s,
Pull a little something from the 90s, too. I'm going to go Betty Blowtorch.
Yeah. There's also Girl School. They were great.
Right.
I like them.
All right, so here we go. I knew this was bound to happen. I've been stressing this all week. We got some Bruce Springsteen questions.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I guess we might as well confront it. Keith Rockford wants to know, he's only ever listened to Born in the USA, and he's always liked it, and he knows it's sacrilege in the boss world. Is that what they call it? Boss world? What else would you recommend listening to for a newbie whose favorite bands include Dream Theater, Alice Cooper, and Iron Maiden?
Well, if those are your favorite bands, I probably wouldn't recommend a lot of new Springsteen records to start with. But, if you're going to have an open mind, I think with Springsteen, you got to kind of take the whole package. You got to love the guy, because his songwriting and him is the kind of thread that's woven through all of his records, right? I would say, Darkness on the Edge of Town is probably one of his greatest records, and that one's a little bit more raw than like Born to Run that came before it. So it's got a little bit of an edge to that one. Darkness on the Edge of Town. I suggest Live in New York City. It's a 2000 live record, and that was the E Street Band back with Bruce Springsteen, and they had a reunion tour. And it's probably one of the best tours that band has ever done. So that's a good, postcard kind of souvenir of that tour. I'd say Magic is a record from 2007, which was really good, kind of a harder rock record than he'd done recently, if you want to look into some recent Springsteen stuff. And, of course, The River is a great record because it's a double record, and it's a kind of a big overview of what he does live, including, like, ballads, party jams, rockers. It's kind of all styles with a kind of a bar band production on it, right? So, those are a few things I would start with for a newbie.
Very cool. I'll tell you this, Lee, and I'll do full disclosure on this. I have a Bruce Springsteen bootleg concert of them playing Nashville in 1974 at Mother's Music Emporium. Wow. I'm sure you've heard it before. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I own it is because Kiss played Mother's Music Emporium. That's the only reason I own it.
Mother's with a U, right? Yeah. That's
yes.
Cool, man. Yeah.
It was a radio convention.
Yeah. But I mean, if you want to become a Bruce Springsteen fan, I would look towards the live stuff, because he is one of the greatest live performers, I think, in the history of music, and he really does bring it to a next level with his live performances, even to this day.
Yeah, just plan to have 3 hours available.
Yeah, maybe 4. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's the one thing that I've always said was pretty cool about Bruce Springsteen, man. That's a tough problem to have. You show up and he plays all kinds of weird stuff and stuff you wouldn't expect, and the show goes on for 3 hours. Wow.
Yeah. And he takes requests, right? Like for the last 10 years, there's a good 20 minutes middle part of his show where he just takes requests from the crowd, whether it be an obscure cover like She's About a Mover, or like a deep cut off of a bootleg song that he's never even released, and he'll play that stuff, and it's because he's got a teleprompter in front of him, right? It's one of the good things about having a teleprompter is that you're able to change your set list, 15 songs, night to night kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Pretty cool. I know a bunch of my favorite bands I wish did it like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of Kiss, we got a question from Al Horta. Which non-makeup Kiss tour do you think had the best set list? For Al, it was the Hot in the Shade tour, with Revenge tour as a close second.
I'd be inclined to agree with Al. I think at the time I thought Revenge was better because everybody was starved for 70s materials, and they leaned heavily on 70s material on the Revenge tour. But in hindsight, the Hot in the Shade set list was almost a perfect mix of 70s and 80s stuff, because even when they played Nashville, they played Under the Gun, which they certainly wouldn't play from 92 on. So I would say Hot in the Shade. That was kind of the ultimate non-makeup tour.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Chris, and exactly what you said too about the perfect mix of the 80s and the classic stuff. It seemed like Revenge, they were kind of leaning too much on the 70s stuff, right? They were putting out all those retro documentaries and stuff like that, right? So I saw 2 shows on that tour, and it's a quick story. The first Toronto stop of the tour was Kiss and Whitesnake.
Yeah,
CNE,
you were there.
Grandstand, and I was there, and Whitesnake were headlining, and Kiss played second, and I think it was Slaughter and Winger maybe on before or something like that. But Whitesnake wouldn't let Kiss use their stage show, their set, or anything like that.
I remember that.
They had to play in the daytime, so they couldn't use any lights or anything like that, right? And I remember it was a pretty heavy Kiss crowd. It was literally 80% Kiss fans. And I remember Kiss coming out at 7 p.m. and full lights, full daytime, and they just kicked the show off with I Stole Your Love. And you could tell they were pissed off, right? Paul Stanley was dropping F-bombs, and he was cursing out David Coverdale during the whole show. Wow. And the whole crowd was behind him and everything like that, right? And we didn't really know what was going on, but you kind of start hearing rumblings as the show was going on, right? But Kiss kicked ass for whatever they got, 75 minutes. And even that condensed Hot in the Shade set list was even more kind of poignant without the the shtick and the lights, and they were just there to kick ass, and it was a great set. And basically Whitesnake came on afterwards, and all the dry ice and all that stuff, and David Coverdale badmouthed Paul Stanley in between a couple of songs, and he got booed big time. And people just started leaving in droves, and I was one of them. And I stayed for about 3 or 4 songs, and then I split with about half the crowd. It was a memorable night for sure.
I don't know if you know this, Lee, but like I've studied into this thing, and like there's a history there between Kiss and Whitesnake that goes back further than that concert.
Okay.
So what happened was Paul and David Coverdale were not on good terms going into that show, and I'll tell you why. So I read an interview with Marty Callner, who was the director. He was like the go-to director for 80s hair band videos at the time. And he did Reason to Live for Kiss. He did Turn on the Night. He did a lot of stuff for Whitesnake. He did Still of the Night. He did Here I Go Again. He did all those. And so you remember the Kiss video for Turn on the Night?
Yeah.
That was filmed at the Worcester Coliseum in Massachusetts. And what happened was Kiss had booked the Worcester Coliseum for a couple of days to do a concert there and the video shoot. And at the same time, Whitesnake contacted Marty Callner and said, "We want to do a video for the song Fool for Your Lovin'." I don't think it was on Slip of the Tongue. Maybe it was on 87. I can't remember. But they decided, well, we can save money by doing videos back to back in this arena. And Whitesnake had booked it earlier. And then Kiss came in and go, well, hey, can you do our video while you're there? So David Coverdale got pissed off because he felt like Whitesnake was footing the bill for the production crew, and Kiss was getting like a half-price deal. And that's where all the bad feelings came from.
Really?
So if you watch both of those videos, you can tell they were shot exactly the same way.
Wow.
I just like the idea of seeing Kiss playing when they're pissed off, when they're like,
"Oh, dude,
we're about to blow this band." Do what do you do? You fight the guy with your fist, or you take your ass out on stage and go, "All right, now follow that."
Yeah, man. And the other part of it too is I think Paul was pissed off at Much Music, which is the Canada MTV up here, and he said something about like introducing Rise to it. He's like, "This is our new video, but you won't see it on Much Music because they don't know good rock and roll," or something like that. So he had some shit like that. So
that's awesome.
It's like there was just a lot of venom, and it was a very memorable show. Yeah, I loved it.
That is cool. You got some good Kiss stuff going on here. All right, here's a little something from Mighty K, Kristen Schembeck. I guess she has been hearing the Kill Fuck Die story, or the Kill Fuck Marry, conundrums the last few weeks, and she's put a twist on it for herself and has basically made this impossible. So she wants to know, out of the 3 people she's listed for each of us, we have to choose kill, best friend, or send to jail for 10 years.
That's cool. All right.
Oh, it's demented. Chris, Joey Ramone, Ronnie James Dio, and Lemmy.
This is not fair at all.
3 good guys.
Yeah.
3 cats, man.
Why would you make us do this, Kristen? Why? I mean, I got Ace Frehley, Hulk Hogan, and Chips enough. Lee, you got Bruce, Warren, and Little Steven. How can we do this?
Right. I guess I have to go first. Damn. Who do I want to kill out of those 3? None of them.
Exactly.
I guess I'm gonna. Damn.
I can't do it. I can't kill Ace Frehley, Hulk Hogan, or Chips enough, or send any of them to jail.
It really boils down to who do you want to have as your best friend? Somebody's going to meet your life day to day.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say Lemmy, but I think I would die within 5 years of liver failure, so I'm not going to say Lemmy.
Probably more like 5 minutes.
Probably Joey Ramone would be my best friend, which means, and also Ronnie James Dio, I guess I would send to jail because I want to hear what the lyrics would be after Ronnie James Dio spends a decade in jail. So I guess I'm killing Lemmy by default.
Oh man, that's harsh. Oh man, this is tough. So I mean, I love Ace Frehley, but do I want to be best friends with him? Probably not. And Chip's enough, you know. He gets the best weed.
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to be best friends with Chips enough. Hulk Hogan could probably handle himself in jail, so, you know, I'll send him
Killing
there.
Ace Frehley.
I'm going to have to kill Ace Frehley. That's terrible.
Yeah.
This is awful.
So who are my choices? I have Springsteen, Little Steven, and who's the other one? Who's this Warren?
I don't know. I thought you'd know.
No. Is it like fucking Warren DeMartini or like fucking Warren Zevon? Anyway, I don't know who Warren is, but I'm going to kill that guy, right? No doubt.
Whoever Warren is, he's a dead man.
Yeah. Obviously, Bruce Springsteen, he already is my best friend. He just doesn't know it right now, you know? And I guess I'm going to have to send Little Steven Van Zandt to jail for 10 years. Because I think he's a tough motherfucker. He can take it, and he's probably got some friends in special places. Like he could probably like call in a couple of favors from some good fellas, you know, some friends of ours and that kind of thing, you know.
That's too funny.
All right, here's an awesome question from Joseph Capone. If you were producing a Bruce Springsteen tribute album featuring artists which would be spotlighted on Decibel Geek podcast, what 5 songs would you each like to see covered? And by who? And he mentions, let's just talk about his, because he's got some good ones here. Born to Run, covered by Iron Maiden.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I like that a lot, too. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I could hear Bruce wailing on that for sure, yeah.
Speaking of Iron Maiden and covers, this was something that was put on Facebook this week. You guys, I hope, saw it. A band from, I think, Brazil, doing Tornado of Souls by Megadeth. But the singer sounds just like Bruce Dickinson. Did you guys see that?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh,
I missed
man.
that one.
It is badass. So it's like if Bruce Dickinson was the singer of Megadeth, and it really works. It works really well.
Cool.
I'll check that out. Let's see. Atlantic City, covered by Bon Jovi, with Richie Sambora for his high harmonies.
I don't want to hear any kind of Bon Jovi, Springsteen wannabe kind of bullshit. I'm sick of that.
I wanted to ask you about
Is that some kind of Jersey conflict going on here?
A little bit.
I didn't know. This is a good time to ask you because John Bon Jovi, you know, since the early 90s has kind of it seems like he's tried to pattern himself against Bruce Springsteen. So I didn't know what real diehard Bruce fans felt about that.
Yeah, well, it doesn't work for me, but I'm not really a big Bon Jovi fan to begin with, so I don't know if that plays a part. But, yeah, I always see him as a guy that kind of wishes he had Springsteen cred and is kind of reaching for that. But I don't know, man. It's just doesn't come out. Yeah, it just seems a little weak to me. But yeah, I'm sure he could sing the song good. I'm sure, Bon Jovi's he's a fan of Springsteen. I'm sure he would do a good job. Whatever. Richie Sambora's all right. Whatever.
You're such a nice guy. Just say no, it would suck.
Oh man, what about this one? This is intriguing. Paradise, covered by King Diamond or Merciful Fate.
Yeah, I like that. That's a deep cut. You guys probably don't know that. That's a deep cut off the Rising record from 2002. So. Yeah, and it's very just like synthy and slow and dark. So yeah, I could definitely hear King doing that one.
Wow, I'm gonna have to check that song out. Like maybe this is what makes me finally check out Bruce Springsteen, because if you're telling me there's songs that would work for King Diamond and Iron Maiden, there's got to be something there.
Well, I mean, he's a great songwriter, right? Like him or not, you can't deny that he's a talented songwriter, and I think his songs is really what makes him shine and stand above other artists, So that's why if people want to cover his songs from no matter what genre, there's always something there that you can kind of grab onto, I think, with a Springsteen song.
Right on. And then finally he suggests Radio Nowhere, covered by Van Halen with Sammy and Mike. Eddie's guitar solo in place of Clarence Clemens' sax solo.
I like that. That would work. Yeah. So I'll give you some picks because I'm sure you guys probably don't have much to say about this one. But and I kind of took some liberty with this question, so I didn't. It didn't matter to me if the band still exists to this day, right? So I took Bon Scott era AC/DC covering "I'm a Rocker" off of the river, which would be they would do that one great. Motorhead could do Further On Up the Road, which is kind of a heavy song off The Rising. Scorpions doing the title track, The Rising. I could hear Klaus doing that la 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 la. That would be Klaus would sing his ass off on that, right? Adam Raised the Cane is probably the heaviest Springsteen song out there. Aaron, I bet you would dig that one if you checked out that song, Adam Raised the Cane. So there's a few bands I thought could cover that. I had Aerosmith first, then I had Judas Priest, and I thought Black Sabbath, but then I'm like Ozzy solo with Zach would do a good version of that. And then my final pick was the Ramones doing Hungry Heart, because the original story with the song Hungry Heart is that Bruce wrote that song for the Ramones. He saw the Ramones live, loved the band, and wrote a song specifically for them.
Wow.
And that was the song. And he was going to go give it to them, but his manager, John Landau, heard it and said, no, you got to keep that one. You got to keep that one. Can't give that one away. And it became a good hit for Bruce. But, man, I would have loved to hear what the Ramones would have done with that, because I think they would have rocked that, for sure.
Wow, I didn't even know that. I'm a big Ramones fan. I had no idea about that.
Yeah, Hungry Heart was written for the Ramones, but, he kept it for himself.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. I never knew that either. That's cool. See, still learning stuff, even in the quarantine.
And, of course, one last choice would be Kiss could do Outlaw Pete, because it's got that I Was Made for Loving You kind of melody in it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. Yeah, he mentions here that he feels like Kiss could do If I Should Fall Behind.
That's like a slow ballad, like a wedding song almost kind of
He
thing.
says, though the original version that appears on Lucky Town is a solo performance, this song would allow for their great lead vocal trade-offs from all the band members like Bruce and the E Street Band did on their reunion tour.
Yeah, man, good question. This guy knows his Bruce. So when Bruce played this live on that reunion tour in 2000, like each member of the E Street Band would sing a line, like a couple of lines for a verse. So I guess he's trying to he's saying that like Gene could sing a couple of lines, Paul could sing a couple of lines, Ace, Peter kind of thing. So yeah, that would be cool.
Nice. That's pretty awesome. I actually got one. I thought that Donnie V with a good hard rock band could take the song Cover Me and kind of rock it out, and I'd love to hear what that song would sound like with his vocals on it.
Yeah, that's a rocker for sure. Yeah, man.
The only one I could come up with for Kiss members was, I thought Peter Criss could have done a good job with Glory Days.
Oh, yeah. With that voice. Glory Days.
Yeah.
Oh, pass you by. Oh.
I'd like to hear Ted Nugent do Born in the USA.
Yeah, but he would totally miss the whole purpose of the song as well, just like most of America when that song came out.
Yeah,
This is pretty good, but I need to change the lyrics around.
Yeah, it is not a patriotic tune.
Exactly, yeah.
Patrick Breen wants to know, what Motley Crue member's solo stuff do you dig the most? Please don't say Tommy's new stuff.
Well, you got to go with Vince, don't you?
Yeah, I think so.
I want to say Mick, but we don't know. We're still waiting on his record. He's my favorite Motley member, but I'm so anxious to hear his record. But yeah, I guess you got to go with Vince, right?
Unless you count John Corabi.
Well, yeah.
Because then you include Union and all that stuff, all his solo stuff, and then Dead Daisies.
And I know it's not going to be popular with you guys, but I do like some of the 6 a.m. tunes.
I like that first one. What was that Life is Beautiful? That song was all right. I dug that song.
Good.
And then
There's also a song called Live Forever that I think is a great tune.
Van Nuys. When he put that record out with the Heroin Diaries, I was all on board for the Heroin Diaries. I was reading that book and I got the record, so I was kind of digging it as I was reading it, kind of thing. But I don't know. It doesn't really hold up 6 a.m. Probably my favorite Motley Crue solo record is probably the Vince cover record, Tattoos and Tequila.
Yeah, he did some awesome covers
on there, man. Like He's a Whore, Another Piece of Meat, Long Cool Woman, No Feelings. Like that's a pretty good covers record.
Yeah, Vince Neil is really a cover master. You know, when he's picking a song, he always does it the right way. He rocks it out, adds a bunch of guitars to it, adds bigger drums to it, and turns it into this hard rocking song. Long Cool Woman is the perfect example of that. Here's this old school rock song, and he turns it into this chugging thing that if you're listening to it in the car, it might get you a speeding ticket, you know, and that Vince Neil is good for that stuff. But I'm still a big fan of the Exposed album. the very first thing he came out with after he left Motley Crue. There's some really great
Exposed,
songs
yeah.
on that.
Yeah, Steve Stevens.
Yeah.
You're invited, but your friend can't come. That's on that, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I like for the Vince cover tunes. I love "Bitches Back,"
Yeah.
and I love his cover of "Cold Ethel" by Alice Cooper. Great stuff.
Yeah, and he gets a lot of shit for his vocals, like live, but on record, he always sounds great, right? He's always got that snotty thing. He always delivers it on the albums. Sounds great on that one.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Bill Elam wants to know, what's the rockabilly song that has got the best hard rock cover treatment?
All right, so I glanced through a bunch of these questions, and a few of them I had to put a little bit of work in. Right, this is one, and I love Bill Elam. We all love Bill Elam, so I thought I would give him a good answer on this. Right, so there's a bunch of good ones. Some runner-ups were like "Train Kept It Rolling." What did I have? Like, "Please Don't Touch," that sort of Motorhead girl school cover they did. Head Girl, that was kind of cool. Carol, Ted Nugent did that live. That was a good one. Aerosmith, "Milk Cow Blues" off "Draw the Line." That's a kind of a good one. Yeah, that's a cover of an Elvis Sun record from the 50s. But they kind of do that kind of Aerosmith treatment to it, right? So they kind of take the rockabilly vibe out of it. But, a couple that really showcase the kind of rockabilly rock and roll spirit, but still with this hard rock, heavy metal vibe, I think, was the live version of "Blue Suede Shoes" by Black Sabbath. I don't know if you guys seen that. But that's a smoking version of "Blue Suede Shoes," man. I mean, like, Ozzy is just killing on these vocals. Bill Ward is just swinging on these drums. Geezer's right there with him, with grooving on the bass line, and like Tony's got some tasty blues licks on this one. So I love that "Blue Suede Shoes" live version.
Right on.
Yeah, but I got to go with the number one kind of rockabilly, rock and roll, hard rock, heavy metal treatment. Has got to be AC/DC "School Days." Bon Scott era, right? And this track, I guess, was off TNT from '75, the Australian version. But the first time I heard it was on that Bonfire box set that came out and had that Volt CD of like extra stuff, and it had "School Days" on it. And I was like, oh man, this is great. Just you hear where Angus gets a lot of his influences. Definitely Chuck Berry, right? That's the number one guy. So it's cool to hear AC/DC rocking this Chuck Berry song. So yeah, that's the one I picked for sure.
Yeah, I love that song. That is awesome. I loved it when I found that, because it had all them extra AC/DC songs on there that I'd never heard before. I was blown away.
Yeah, it was so great. That's the ones, that whole box set was worth it just for that one disc,
Yep.
Hats off to Lee McCormick bringing it tonight.
That's what I do, man. That's how I roll, you know it.
Nice. It's always good when you can learn something. All right, what's a better movie, Predator or Terminator?
Oh, that's a tough one. I would say
tough.
Terminator.
I'm going Predator just because it's got Carl Weathers and Jesse Ventura.
Right? Yeah, they were awesome in that movie, man. I love Predator. I love Terminator too. That's a toss-up. I really like both those series. I'm going to go Terminator.
Yeah.
All right, here's the classic right here. Kill, marry, fuck. Choices are Sharon Osbourne, Yoko Ono, or Ian Wadley.
So I'm going to have to marry Ian Wadley again today. Okay. I would marry Ian Wadley. I would fuck Sharon Osbourne. I would definitely kill Yoko Ono.
Yeah, see, I'm different than you there. I'm going to have to kill Yoko Ono, marry Sharon Osbourne, and fuck Ian Wadley.
Oh, better you than me.
At least if you're married to Sharon Osbourne, you know she ain't going to let nobody else fuck with you.
That's true.
I'm gonna fuck Sharon Osbourne and try and get a threesome with Ozzy so we can just like make some small talk while that's going on. I'm gonna marry Yoko Ono because she's probably gonna pass soon, and she's probably got a nice little egg she's sitting under. Probably plus there's probably some cool Beatles and John Lennon shit in her house that I could check out.
Oh,
right?
Nice.
And I'm gonna kill a couple of cases of beer with Ian Wadley. Here we go.
Nice.
You got the ulterior motive.
Oh, man. Stargazer or Starbreaker?
I'm going to go Stargazer because I don't even know what Starbreaker is.
Well, I think he's talking about Starbreaker being either the Tony Harnell side project or the Judas Priest song Starbreaker.
Oh, okay. I'm still going Rainbow Stargazer.
Yeah,
I would.
Sounds great.
I'm not a big fan of Stargazer. I'm weird like that. I would go with Starbreaker.
If it's song versus song, man, I love Starbreaker. That's an awesome tune.
They played that when I saw them a year ago. That was a great song.
Nice. That is cool. Better home porn, Hulk Hogan or Gene Simmons?
Oh, fuck.
The answer is Tommy Lee. The ruler of all celebrity porn is Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson.
That's true.
If I got to pick, though, I'd probably pick the Hulkster. Is that the one where he started like getting all racist and shit, though?
I think that was later, but at about the same time. Not in the same setting.
As long as he doesn't like bring the mood down with some racist shit, I'd probably like to watch Hulk more than Gene Simmons.
Oh my god.
But Tommy Lee is the right answer for sure. Tommy Lee,
Kim Kardashian, and Ray J. But I guess
that's a good one too.
I guess I would have to pick Gene just because of the socks.
And the shirt, right? She's wearing a T-shirt at the same time.
Yeah, thank God for that.
The Winnie the Pooh look.
Yeah.
Right.
And isn't there a song playing like fucking Foreigner?
Yeah, I wanted to know what love is. And like Gene tried to like make it out like that song the video came from the early '80s. And it's like, come on, man, we know it's you.
Yeah,
that's funny.
There were some good ones though, man. I had them all. I had the Tanya Harding, I had the Vince Neil, the Bret Michaels, the Paris Hilton, the Tommy Lee.
Wow.
Right. Good old Matt Weller's dick bringing the most bizarre questions every single
great.
Good entertainment. Good entertainment.
Better Stallone character, Rocky Balboa or John Rambo?
Well, you got to go with Rocky, right?
Yeah, come on. Rocky Balboa is the greatest character in the all-time history of characters. I mean, come on, man. But I mean, John Rambo's pretty cool too. But
yeah,
Rocky,
he's a badass.
Yeah, I got Rocky tattooed on my leg, man. Come on.
Oh wow, yeah, definitely Rocky then. What's your favorite era of the Rolling Stones? 60s, 70s, 80s, or anything after? That's a good question right there.
I got to get a bit more specific. My favorite era would be the 77 to 82 era. That's sort of like Some Girls to like Undercover. That's my favorite. Next, probably second era would be the 68 to 74, the Mick Taylor years. And then my third favorite era would probably be the early days, like 64 to 66, right? Like, and you can't really call like the last 30 years of the Stone an era, even though they put out a bunch of records and they've always been reliable. But I don't know. It's just like, you know, they've kind of been a legendary band for 40 years now, you know,
right?
A classic rock band.
For sure. I'm just kind of really starting to sort of get into the Stones. I picked up a couple of CDs that I had found and was like, you know what, I'm going to give these a chance. So I got a few different ones that I'm kind of just sort of digging into to figure out what's going to make it on my iPod. So I'm not really sure yet, but so far I'm digging some of the songs off Goathead Soup. And you mentioned Some Girls. There's some great songs on that too. So I'm learning the Stones right now.
I'd have to go with 60s. I mean, Painted Black came out then. I love Let It Bleed. I love the Brian Jones era of the band, so I guess I would go 60s. But I find good stuff in all of the eras.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
They're one of the greatest bands of all time, right? You can almost call their eras by their guitar players, right? The Brian Jones era, the Mick Taylor era, and the Ron Wood era kind of thing, right?
Yeah, and Mick Taylor was a very underrated player. I love his stuff.
He worked well with Keith because they were so different, right? Like Mick was so smooth and bluesy and like technical, where Keith was raw and it's just amazing. Right? That was their peak, probably that early '70s. Sticky Fingers, Exile on Main Street.
Yeah, Sticky Fingers is a great album.
Yeah, and I love Exile. Exile's a great record.
I love that song Sway.
Oh, yeah, that's so good.
All right, which VHS do you prefer, Kiss Exposed or Kiss Extreme Close Up? Man, I loved them both when I was young. I haven't seen either one of them in quite a while, but
see, it's tough because I gotta love Exposed maybe because I'm a little more nostalgic to that, and that one came first, and that was the first time they were kind of releasing archival clips, and you were seeing these things for the first time, and you were like, wow, and they were being kind of goofy and doing all skits and stuff like that. And then when Extreme Close-Up came out, that was cool too, because it was the first time you ever kind of got a Kiss documentary talking about their career album to album. And that was amazing too. But You know, that was the era, like we were talking about earlier, where they were really relying on sort of that classic Kiss era to promote their whatever they were doing at the time. So I don't know. It's a tough call. I'd probably pick a Exposed just for nostalgic reasons.
Yeah, if it's nostalgia reasons, I definitely have to go with Exposed because, I mean, I had them both. I was excited to get both of them more than just about anything in the entire world. And being the age I was, I never seen Kiss in their original form. I only knew Kiss from, looking at old magazines, old records, stuff that had came out years before, and then what was new and current. So to get to see some of that old footage, like you said, for the first time ever was just mind-blowing. And, I believed at that age when I'm watching Exposed that that's how Kiss really lives, So it made it that much more, I don't know, just out of this world, and so awesome. But then when Extreme Close-Up came out, like you said, it was them being serious then, and so I kind of prefer Extreme Close-Up in retrospect, but at the time it was definitely Exposed.
I'm kind of on the same wavelength as both of you guys. I think Exposed was something I rented regularly, and of course there's plenty of boobs, so that kind of gets it.
That helps.
But Extreme Close-Up was more of a focus on the music and the history of the band, so I probably went back and watched that one more. So I guess I would have to say Extreme Close-Up, but it's by a hair.
Yeah. The one that was really good was the Kiss My Ass one, where they just had like 90 minutes of old footage. That was insane.
Yep.
Yeah. All the toy commercials and everything in there. And
right. Wow. I haven't
Saturday Night
seen
Live
these in
skits
forever.
and stuff. That's the best one.
That one was fun. Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that one in forever. I got a VHS player now and a bunch of VHS tapes. We got to start doing something with these.
We had
Let's
some
see.
watch-alongs for Torpedo Dudes, which is woefully appreciated.
Torpedo Dudes, what's that?
I know, exactly.
Oh, yeah, I remember. We need to make some more of those. Let's see. Alien or Aliens?
Aliens.
Aliens for sure, yeah.
I'm going to take Alien Singular. I'm going to take Ridley Scott and White Cotton Panties over James Cameron for sure.
Yeah, I see your point in there. What's a better game show, Remote Control or Beat the Geek? Well, I think that goes without asking.
Beat the Geek.
Beat the Geek, of course.
It's definitely Beat the Geek.
I don't even know Remote Control. That's like an MTV.
That was an old MTV thing.
I never saw that. I never got that.
I do have a lot of great memories watching Remote Control, though.
Yeah.
Cool.
What's your favorite of the first 5 Motorhead albums with the original trio? Motorhead, Overkill, Bomber, Ace of Spades, Iron Fist.
Iron Fist.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I am also going to go with Iron Fist. That album's special to me. That was my Motorhead album that I had when I was a kid. It came out before, it was old by the time I got it, but that was my introduction to Motorhead, so that's the one that's special.
Like them all, though.
I love all of them. There ain't nothing bad on any one of them.
Edmund's Case, No Class, Overkill. But I got to probably go Ace of Spades, my favorite, even though it's probably the popular one, but it is the classic. I mean, Love Me Like a Reptile, Chase is Better Than the Catch, Shoot You in the Back, We Are the Road Crew, that title track, Ace of Spades, that's like so rockabilly, right? I love Ace of Spades. That's probably my number one.
I mean, it's amazing to look at that. You got 5 albums in a row right there, and they're all albums that you can listen to the whole thing. There ain't nothing you want to skip on any one of those. 5 in a row like that. Oh, damn, near perfect albums.
What a amazing fucking run.
Shit, yeah. Which of the 4 Kiss biographies did you anticipate the most and enjoy the most?
I anticipated Aces the most, and I enjoyed Peter's the most.
I'm going to steal your answer. I have the exact same opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing, too, because I really anticipated Aces, and normally I would, you'd think I'd just say, well, yeah, Aces was the best, but, I mean, none of them too much revealed a lot that people didn't already know, so I think all of them were sort of a letdown. I guess the best one was Peter's because his was the most dramatic, I suppose.
Well, I mean, the best were between Peter and Paul's. I mean, both of them both guys let things fly quite a bit. And it's one of those things where, like, I think Peter and Paul are the two that you need to read the most. And if you want to decide who's being honest, you have to read both of them and decide for yourself. Because Peter and Paul both have a tendency to make themselves the victim. So it's like, take your pick on which one's more honest.
Yeah.
And with
halfway through Ace's book, I was just like, this can't be real. This guy doesn't remember any of this shit.
I was going to say, with Ace's book, you got to trust what everybody else remembered for him.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I think Eddie Trunk wrote most of Ace's book.
Yeah.
I guess if you're going to write a book like that, that's kind of the way to do it. You just call around to all the people you knew and said, hey, tell me your story.
I need some stories.
Tell me my story.
But I mean, Peter's was so heartfelt at some points, like whether you believe him or not. Like you can tell he wears his heart on his sleeve, and that's the way he was in the band, and I think that's why people love him. That's why I love him, and I really got that out of his book, right? Even when he was talking about, the farewell tour, and when he was doing the teardrop and all that stuff, and he was really hurt and betrayed by these guys who he thought was his band and his friends, and I don't know. I just really, I love Peter for that reason, and he really came out in his book,
Right on. I can dig it. Favorite Stephen King book?
I've only ever read one Stephen King book, and that was The Stand, which is actually very topical these days, which is about the government issuing or spreading an influenza disease virus kind of pandemic over the world. And that's the only kind of Stephen King book I've read, but I love The Shining. The Shining is one of my favorite movies for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and movie adaptation. I think my favorite book is Salem's Lot. It's a vampire book. And it's really cool, I remember getting it when I was a little kid. It was probably the first Stephen King book I read. I think I still have the original paperback book that I had from when I was a kid. But it was one of them books where you sit down, you start it, and you don't want to do anything else. You just want to read the book, because when you're not reading the book, you're wondering what the hell's going on, because it pulls you into the story so much. Yeah, I like the It movies. I think those are pretty awesome.
For me, this was really hard for me because I was a big Stephen King fan growing up. For favorite book, I guess I could say the Dark Tower series, but for the Dark Tower books, The Wastelands is my favorite book, which has not been made into a movie just yet, unless you want to count the awful one that came out last year. But for movie adaptation, I would have to say It, even though it was and I'm not talking about the one that came out in theaters. I'm talking about the one that was a movie of the week. It was like a mini-series that came out in the 80s. I still love what they did with that, and Tim Curry playing Pennywise was just magic.
Also got to give a shout-out to Cycle of the Werewolf for the Ace Frehley mention.
Oh, yeah.
And also, I think Kiss was mentioned in one of the Gunslinger books.
Yeah, Calling Dr. Love is mentioned.
Playing on a radio somewhere.
That's right.
That's awesome.
When Jake gets hit by a car in New York City.
And one of the girl that gets killed by the werewolf, she sends herself flowers and gifts and stuff and says that they're from rock stars and famous people. And one of the people that supposedly sent her flowers was Ace Frehley. That's
right. Oh, and another honorable mention for favorite book, there's a book called The Dark Half. That's a really good, it's a really well-made Stephen King book. The movie is awful. Don't bother watching it.
Okay, here's a guitar duo battle. KK Downing and Glenn Tipton versus Dave Murray and Adrian Smith. Tag team championships on the line.
Downing and Tipton.
Yeah,
I'm going to go Murray and Smith just to be cute. It's such a tough call. Both those teams are amazing, right? But I got to give a little slight edge to Iron Maiden just because, I like them a little bit more than Priest.
Ugh.
Man, this is tough. I'm going to have to break the tie and say Downing and Tipton.
Plus, I don't like the fact that they're all, not united anymore, right? At least, Dave and Adrian are getting along, but it's just sad what's happened with KK and Glenn and all that drama.
Yeah, they do get the longevity win.
Yeah.
That's true. Let's see. How many we got left? Oh, man, there's a bunch. We might have to skip around a little bit.
Yeah. That's fine.
Any knowledge of the band Raging Slab? kind of a cross between Lynyrd Skynyrd and Metallica is how I read they were described, similar to the Black Crowes. Also, how do y'all think Brad Gillis and Jeff Watson stack up against other lead guitar duos? First, Raging Slab, they're awesome. I love this band. I got their debut CD. I found it at a record store one day. I was like, holy shit, Raging Slab. I think I knew of them from something else, like a soundtrack or something, or maybe a video back in the day. And I got it, and that debut album, the whole thing is really good. It is kind of like a good hard rockin' band that's kind of got a little bit of a country, you know, like an outlaw country kind of flavor to it almost, a little bit, you know. Kind of, I see the Skynyrd a little bit, like heavy metal Skynyrd, sort of, in a way.
Nashville Pussy kind of thing.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I don't know. I like Raging Slab better. And apparently, and I didn't know this at the time, I was like, man, what happened to this band? They've been putting out albums for years. I never knew it, but so I got another one of their discs from a few years down the line. It's really good too, and I'm looking for the rest. So yeah, Raging Slab is awesome. What do you guys know about them?
I have to claim ignorance on this one. I know the band name, but I've never listened to their music, so I couldn't tell you. As far as Gillis and Watson, really good guitar duo. Probably underrated because their band is more AOR than anything else, but really good from what I've heard. But yeah, Raging Slab is a band I need to check out more for sure.
I recommend
I don't know much about Raging Slab. I remember that album cover where they're leaning up against like a big rig and they're all in their chaps and cowboy hats and stuff like that. Right? But as far as like kind of like country hard rock metal, I always loved the Four Horsemen. Remember that band? They had one record. And,
great band.
Produced by Rick Rubin. The production on that record is so good. You know, it's tragic. A bunch of those guys are dead. I think the lead singer and Dimwit, the drummers, they're passed away. But yeah, that's a great record as far as that kind of, you know, country hard rock kind of vibe. And as far as Brad Gillis and Jeff Watson, don't really know much about them. And it's because, like what you said, Chris, and they don't really have the songs, right? Like, they might be good players, but you got to kind of have the songs to kind of back it up. And I don't think you know, Night Ranger had many of those songs that made these guys, you know, stand apart.
Yeah. I mean, listen to the, you know, the Ozzy Speak of the Devil thing with Brad Gillis playing lead on it. It's really good stuff.
I got a disc by Brad Gillis called Gill Rock Ranch, and it's got a bunch of different guests and stuff on it. If I'm not mistaken, I think Toby Wright produced it, and it's a solo album of his, and the playing on it is just phenomenal.
Nice.
Great player.
All right, Mark Adams says, the zombie apocalypse is coming, and you have to get out of town. You can only take 2 pieces of memorabilia with you. The zombies are coming. What are you guys grabbing on your way out?
Jesus.
Well, I got to probably take one of my autographed Steve Earle things. You know, I love Steve Earle. He's like, he's probably like my favorite current artist kind of thing, you know, and, you know, I've had the opportunity to take his songwriting masterclass a few years over the last 5 years that he does at Camp Copperhead kind of thing. So I've kind of, you know, forged a relationship with him. So he's been able to, I've met him at shows a bunch of times. So he's signed a bunch of records and posters for me. So I would have to probably take one of those things to kind of commemorate, you know, that relationship I have with one of my favorite artists. And, you know, the other thing I thought of was maybe I have this like Dean Martin, like singing like doll thing. It's about like like a foot and a half, and you press this button, and he's in this like tuxedo, and he sings "Everybody loves somebody sometimes," and it's like this little kind of talking doll. I love that, so I would take that definitely during the zombie apocalypse.
Oh, man, I don't even know. I don't think I have that one particular thing or 2 particular things that are really special. I mean, I'd be pretty useless in the zombie apocalypse as I've got like 6 red wagons tied together, loaded full of CDs, and I'm pushing a wheelbarrow at the same time.
I struggled with this one because it's like, well, obviously the first thought is my phone, because I've got a shit ton of music on my phone, but if I'm looking, I'm just looking around my office at stuff I have, and 2 things that I'm very proud of. One would be I have a framed photo, autographed of Peter Criss that he signed for me after I met him off of his tour bus in 1995 when he played here in Nashville for the Bad Boys of Kiss tour. It's a signed picture. He bummed a cigarette off of me.
That's so cool.
I've got the signed picture with the ticket there. I would take that. And the other thing, Decibel Geek related, would be my VHS home video that Ricky Rocket signed for me from Poison Sight for Sore Ears. That would be the two that I would take.
Yeah, Ricky Rocket. All right.
Nice.
Great man.
I remember there's a quick little story. I went to Humber College here in Toronto and I studied percussion, the jazz program, right? And it's a lot of like, high class jazz musicians. And one day in the percussion class, somebody on the blackboard had written down like all these legendary drummers, Elvin Jones, Art Blakey, Philly Joe Jones, all these like classic jazz drummers. So me, just to be a dick, I kind of went to be on the blackboard and I put like Marky Ramone, Ricky Rocket, like all these kind of like funny drummers. And I remember one of my percussion teachers came up to me afterward and he goes, "Lee, Ricky Rocket, come on, man."
Yeah, but I got personal connection to that guy.
Oh, he's awesome, man. I love Ricky Rock. He's an entertaining drummer to watch, man. He's a flashy, great drummer.
Show me.
Oh, yeah.
That's so cool you did that. I love it. Bill Algie wants to know, what's the worst Gene song on an album?
Oh,
what's
the Murder in High Heels, song? Easily.
Which one?
Murder in High Heels.
Oh, no, not even close.
Yeah. Mr. Blackwell kind of sucks. That one, I don't like that one at all.
I like Mr. Blackwell, too. I would say probably the cover of Firestarter would be mine.
Oh, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, see, I don't know that Asshole, or I don't know Monster or Sonic Boom, so in my head is that there's one song off Carnival of Souls that's kind of just awful. There's a few songs, but in my head, maybe is that what I'm thinking?
Maybe.
That's the worst song on Carnival of Souls, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Mark Alden Taylor wants to know, do you believe in pixie dust?
I believe in angel dust because I did some back in the day.
You.
What is pixie dust? Pixie dust is like sprinkle a little pixie dust on it there, make it like happen kind of thing. Was that what's he talking about?
I have no idea. I was hoping one of you guys would know.
Well, if you think of it like I'm thinking of it, like luck is definitely a thing.
Sure.
Like if you look at like being a successful rock star musician, like I think you have to have talent, right? You have to be a hard worker, perseverance. You have to have that it factor, and you definitely need a little bit of pixie dust, like a little bit of luck, a little bit of that sort of magic with every artist, So, definitely believe in that for sure.
You hear all kinds of stories over the years from the bands that kind of have made it, where there's a whole lot of right place, right time going on.
Yeah.
Brian Knapp wants to know, do either of you sing or play an instrument? I know that Chris has played the guitar in the past. What instruments, if any, have you both tried to play, and were you successful? The second half of my question is, if you could spend an hour with any live or previously deceased rock star you wanted to either hang with or get a lesson from, who would it be? Well, like Chris, you've had your band. You've played and stuff. Mm-hmm. We know Lee is doing stuff currently. Chris is learning AC/DC songs.
Yep.
I've got a BC Rich and an acoustic guitar in there. I hardly ever have time to play anymore.
I finally started picking up the guitar probably about 2 weeks ago, and I've had a blast getting back into it. And like the YouTube is like the greatest thing ever because you can basically learn anything that you couldn't learn before just by finding a lesson on YouTube. So I've had a blast with that. But as far as other instruments, I mean, I could half-ass play drums, and I played recorder, and I played sax in middle school. But if I could pick anybody to play, any previously deceased rock star to hang with, I'm always been a drummer. Like, my fantasy is to be a drummer. So Eric Carr would be who I would pick, and I would have him teach me the intro to Kink of the Mountain.
Nice. Awesome. That is awesome.
I mean, ever since I was a kid, drums was the first instrument I gravitated towards, and like I'm talking like 3-4 years old. I remember having a pair of drumsticks and tapping and stuff like that. So when I first got my first drum kit at like 11, 12 years old, the first time I sat down at a drum kit, I was able to play something, right? And then a few years later, I picked up a guitar, So I've always kind of been a drummer guitarist. Of course, bass came because that's very related to the guitar. Piano I really worked at. I wish I could play piano better. I can kind of work my way through a song on piano, but I can't really just sit down and, play a song straight through on piano. But as far as sitting down with a musician, of course I got to pick Elvis Presley. If I could sit down for an hour with Elvis Presley, that would be amazing. But we wouldn't be talking about music, we would be talking about life and being cool and chicks and just like spiritual stuff. But as far as like lessons and stuff like that, I would probably want to get an hour guitar lesson with Brian Setzer would be incredible. I would lose it over that. That would be amazing for me.
Nice. That's awesome. I mean, this is funny because this just came up for me the other day. My buddy Shannon was posting on Facebook, and he still does music stuff, but we grew up together, and the first band, I guess you could sort of call it a band, that I was ever in was called Rock Candy Dynamite. And we were kind of like a half-assed, kind of a Faster Pussycat cover band, I guess, because that's what we were all into at the time. And I hadn't thought about that in years, and he had mentioned it the other day, and we were talking about it on his Facebook page. But I played a little guitar. My first guitar was a Yamaha, and I had a crate amp, and I could never get it to sound the way I wanted it to sound. So I think my life would have been different if I'd have plugged it in that first time and strummed across the strings and got some sort of distortion out of it.
Yeah. Well, that was the Ace Frehley story, right? Didn't he pick up a guitar and he played like an A chord through an amp, and that just blew his mind, right?
Yeah, it's got to be way better that way than going plink, and going, what? Something's wrong with this. It's broken. But I definitely remember that, begging for that guitar and then standing in front of the mirror for the first time, plugging it all in. It's cranked, nobody's home, and plink, like, oh, damn, and never could get the sound right. So I never started young like I should have. But then when we started playing in bands, I was in a band where I played bass. I sang in a few bands, and then I just kind of fell into radio after that. But I haven't played guitar, honestly, in years. And I don't think I could actually pull out a guitar and be like, here's a song I'm going to play for you. But what I can do is, and this is what happens, if I do pull out my guitar, or if I do pull out my little nephew's little keyboard they got in there, or Tommy used to have his drum set over in my garage, I'd go out in the garage and play drums, and I could sit and play by myself all day long, and I get so entrenched into it that I'll just be making shit up left and right and going, that sounds cool, let me do that again. And, but to sit down and actually play a song with a band, I can't do it. But if I get an instrument in my hand, I become kind of hypnotized, and eventually my wife will come up and be like, okay, that's enough.
Well, I'll say one thing about this, because I am a music teacher. I've taught drums and guitars for over 25 years now, and it's just got to, like, for one thing, you got to have the passion and love for it. Like, you have to want to do it. You can't force it. You have to want to do it. And it's not about practicing like 2 or 3 hours a day. It's like once a week. It's about practicing 10 minutes every day, right? Like, rather than like putting aside a couple of hours a day for you to like practice guitar, just put aside like 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, pick up the guitar and work on this one song. And then the next day you pick it up, and you'll be surprised like what you remember and how you learn music that way, because a lot of it is muscle memory as well, just doing it. So you can't really like pick up a guitar every 2 months and expect to kind of maintain your skills. It's got to be like, 10, 15 minutes every day. And then if you really want to, take it to a new level, then you're going to go to an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours every day kind of thing,
Right
That's
on.
true.
Baco wants to know, if we were stranded on an island with Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley, after we killed them, who do we eat first, and which one do you turn into a sex doll? Fucking Baco. Jeez.
That's a wacky question.
God.
Well,
yeah, I don't even feel comfortable answering
I would definitely
that.
eat Gene, because I know he likes cookies and sugar kind of things, so I'm sure he's got some better taste in flesh than Paul. And I probably fuck Paul, because like he probably works on he eats healthy, right? He eats lean, right? I'm sure he like lotions his skin, like skincare product and stuff like that, right? So.
Oh my God!
I don't even know what to say.
You thought way deeper than me on this one, Lee, but I'll steal your answer.
I'm going to go with that. Yeah, definitely.
Like, you know how Gene's always showing off his thighs, right? Like, remember in Kiss, he would always have that little oval cut out of his thigh, right? Like showing off those big meaty thighs, right?
Yeah, definitely more meat on the bone with Gene Simmons.
There you go, like just rotisserie that Gene Simmons thigh on a desert island.
And now the show has hit a new low.
Not yet, because Baco's got one more question.
Here we go, Baco.
What is the proper way to execute the Pickering snowshoe?
I saw this, and I want to question it. I think I know what he's talking about.
It's they were talking about on their show. I caught this, so I know what he's talking about. When they were talking about you, and you're from Pickering, and they believe that the Pickering snowshoe is like some sort of sexual experience.
Okay. There's two options for a snowshoe. Okay, I've done one of them, 100%. So I won't reveal what it is, but. If you look up what a snowshoe is, I've definitely done one of them.
I don't want to even look this up.
No, I don't know.
I'll give you a hint. One of them is kind of violent, and I would never do that. I would never do that.
All right, well, you look it up at your own discretion, listeners. Andrew Jacobs, question for all. Seeing as how today is also the 50th birthday of Rivers Cuomo, please discuss why Weezer is one of the worst bands of all time. And if any of you like Weezer, why?
I like some Weezer.
I think that's the thing with Weezer. It's some Weezer. There's so many bands out there that are like this, where a band that's got the potential to be something that I would just love. There's songs by Weezer that I think are just freaking amazing. Like, just talking about good tone in their guitars and great riffs and really killer hooks. Weezer can do it. For that, they're really good. Do they do that all the time? No, they don't. They sometimes release some weird kind of artsy stuff on their albums too. So every Weezer album's hit and miss, but I found on everything Weezer's ever released, there's at least one good rockin' song on each album.
I like, for whole albums, I like the Blue Album. I like Pinkerton. And, I like separate songs after that. The new song's called, I think it's called Your Hero. I kind of dig that. That's off the Van Weezer record that's coming up. But, yeah, I like some stuff.
I like that Meldroid album, that hard rockin' one.
That's a good... Is that the one that has Hash Pipe on it?
No, I don't think so. That's a different one.
I like the song Hash Pipe.
See, and that's another example of a good chugging riff right there. I love that song.
Yeah, I remember that Hash Pipe song was all right, but I'm not a fan. I stopped following new bands around 1995, and I do love that Happy Days video though. When that thing came out, and that what is that, Buddy Holly? They did that video with Happy Days. Man, that was fucking awesome, right? And quick little Weezer story. Buddy of mine, John Cars, who I mentioned earlier, he's the guy that got me the deals on the CDs, but he liked Weezer. And he went to see one of their shows here in Toronto. I wasn't there, so this is a story that he's telling me. And he bought one of their shirts at the show, right? And he's watching the band, and he said they were so awful. He was just like, "There's no way I'm ever wearing this shirt." So at the end of the night, because the band was so bad, he went and he threw his shirt that he just spent like $30 on. He just threw it on stage in disdain, in disgust, hoping that they would. Get the message that, wow, a fan just doesn't even want to wear his shirt. But I don't think it worked out. And I think the roadies and the stagehands were like, "Hey, man, here's your shirt back." And my buddy John was like, "No, man, you can keep it because these guys fucking suck," or something like that.
It was the principle of it, though.
That's right, yeah. So, big props to Johnny Cars for doing that.
Yeah, that takes balls. You're going to spend $30 on the shirt, and by the end of the show, be so disappointed that you will throw that $30 shirt at the stage. That hopefully, like you said, it would hit the dude in the face, and he'd be look down at it and go, "Man, we got to change our ways. This is not good." Does it ever work that way? I don't know.
Who knows?
Brian Davis wonders, what are Lee's top 5 favorite Chuck Berry songs. Also, what are your favorite blues albums?
Oh, man. Well, we're talking about Chuck Berry. Chuck Berry is one of my favorite artists of all time. What a legend. What an innovator. Rock and roll. 5 songs. All right, let's go. Nadine. I love the song Nadine.
Yeah.
Reelin' and Rockin' is so great. Reelin' and Rockin' is cool because Chuck's just like singing like lyrics that rhyme with the clock. Like I looked at my watch, it was 9:45. I was dancing with a woman that was twice my size and reeled. Right. So there's some live versions where he just keeps going, I looked at my watch, it was 10:16. I didn't know if I was in between. And he just keeps rhyming this stuff with the words, right? So I love that one. We got to talk about County Line. Is kind of one of these, Chuck's a great lyricist, right? So County Line, he's got these songs about hot rod drag racing, and County Line is a deep cut. I love Carol. Carol's a great rocker. And Maybelline, one of my favorites. And Maybelline is cool because a lot of people talk about how rock and roll was formed by the white man taking the black man's music, right, and playing it for the white people. But here's an example, Maybelline, where Chuck Berry is the black man, and he's taking some influence from the white man's music, right? So this is Chuck, taking some blues chords and then putting kind of a country and western vibe with this song, right? So I think Maybelline is a perfect example of a great rock and roll song. And we talk about favorite blues albums. I mean, there's so many. If we can talk compilations, I know that's kind of cheating, but there's all these chess blues compilations that came out. I think in the early 2000s, you get a Muddy Waters, Volume 2 of Chess. You get a Little Walter, Howlin' Wolf. All these compilations are great, but B.B. King, Live at the Regal, that's a classic record. Willie Dixon, I'm Ready. That was a great one. So many great stuff.
That's cool. All right. Let's see. Courtney Cronin Dold, our good friend, she wants to know who would be in your dream lineup of an all-female Bruce tribute supergroup, and who should they tour with? A dream all-female supergroup.
I don't know, man. So are we talking about we need a female drummer and a female bass player and things like that? I don't know. This is a tough question.
It is a tough question.
I don't know. I would lean towards Joan Jett fronting the band. I think Joan Jett could do a Springsteen tribute. Obviously, she covered Light of Day, right? Springsteen song. And I think Joan Jett's kind of got that working class, East Coast kind of rocker vibe that Springsteen has. Joan Jett. How about we do Joan Jett and then opening up? How about we have a Tom Petty tribute with Nina Pearson from the Cardigans fronting that?
Wow. That's far out.
Yeah, that would work.
I would say definitely Joan Jett singing it. Let's see. I think they wouldn't even have to be a Bruce tribute group. I'd say Joan Jett singing, Nancy Wilson and the chick from the Donnas is my guitar duo. Melissa Oftermar on bass.
Nice.
And I guess Samantha Maloney on drums.
That's a good choice.
Wow, you did some homework. That's good stuff, man.
That's my that's my chick supergroup. They should do that. That would be badass.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff Reed, do we like Shotgun Messiah? If so, the first 2 albums had different singers. Which one do you prefer?
I still love the Tim version of the band.
Yeah, I love Shotgun Messiah. I actually was listening to that first album not too long ago because I actually found it on CD. I was blown away. I was like, holy shit, it's the first Shotgun Messiah. It's good. It's really good.
Yeah, it is good.
I forgot how good it actually was, but yeah, it don't hold up to the Tim stuff for sure, especially Second Coming, which is damn near a perfect album.
Yeah, Heartbreak Boulevard is one of the best songs from that whole era.
Hey, Sex, Drugs, Rock and Roll, there's all kinds of great songs on that album.
Yep.
Lee, what do you think of Shotgun Messiah? Are you familiar?
I don't know much about them. They're Swedish, right? Are they Swedish?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I do love a lot of Swedish things, like Nina Pearson we talked about, Pelle Lindbergh, Meatballs. So, yeah, man, I'll definitely check them out for sure, yeah.
Yeah, definitely recommend that album, Second Coming. And I guess finally, for our final question here for this week's Quarantine Sessions, it comes to us, I guess, from our own Facebook page. It's just labeled as the Decibel Geek Podcast. And somebody wants to know, what is the meaning of life for you guys?
Boobs and beer.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. That's such a tough question, right? Meaning of life? I don't know. Rock and roll is the easy answer for me, but I guess it's like, whatever, like love, pursuit of happiness, a satisfied mind, peaceful heart, all that stuff. I'm still on the quest. I don't know if I've found the meaning of life yet. So, I'm just trying to keep myself happy and, just work on the things I love and, see what happens along the way.
Yeah, that's all you can do, keep on keeping on. And, I don't know. I try to make as many people smile as I can.
Yeah.
And I just kind of treat it like a game. How many people can I make smile or say hi to me,
Yeah.
At the end of the
game. Boobs and beer.
And also boobs and beer.
I do love boobs and beer.
You know what else I love? Being a game show host. That's right.
Yeah.
If you guys are ready, it's now time for Beat the Geek. I've got 11 questions lined up. Today, it's Canada versus the USA as Lee McCormick challenges Chris, who's on a 2-game winning streak, on today's edition of Beat the Geek. So I've got my 11 questions. It's all about hard rock, metal, rock history, all kinds of cool stuff mixed in here. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Lee, you know the rules?
I know, I'm ready to go, man.
Okay. Chris, you're up first because you're the geek. And your first question is this. Roman Glick was once a member of Brother Kane. What band is he in now? So, Lee, I got to ask you, do you think Chris knows it?
I'm going to say he doesn't know this one.
All right, right off the bat, hot start, you are being bet against. Chris, Roman Glick was once a member of Brother Kane. What band is he in now? Your choices are Slaughter, Queensryche, Jackal, or Drowning Pool.
Shit. So I know it's not Queensryche or Slaughter. So it's Queensryche or Drowning Pool, or no wait, Jackal, or did you say Jackal?
Slaughter, Queensryche, Jackal, Drowning Pool.
So it's Jackal or Drowning Pool. Shit. Jackal.
That is correct. Wow, off to a good start.
Wow.
Got the question right. Good guess. Lee did bet against you, so right off the bat, Chris is up 2-0.
That's power deduction.
All right. Sometimes that's what helps when you got 4 choices. So that brings it back to you, Lee. This is your question, and it should be good for you because it regards Canada's Walk of Fame. Have you ever been to Canada's Walk of Fame?
I haven't. I don't even know where that is. Ottawa, I would assume?
I think so. Yeah. But the question is this. Which of the following is not included on Canada's Walk of Fame? I've got 4 well-known Canadian entities. 3 of them are. 1 of them isn't. Chris, he's Canadian, but he's never been there. Does he know it?
I'll say he knows it.
All right, you're not being bet against. 1 point on the line. Which of the following is not included on Canada's Walk of Fame? Is it producer Bob Ezrin, guitarist Aldo Nova, John Kay of Steppenwolf, or Nickelback? 3 are, 1 is not.
I'm going to go Aldo Nova.
That is correct.
Ooh.
Nickelback's got a star, so does John Kay, even though he only lived there for a little while. Of course, Bob Ezrin's going to be on there, but I found it strange that Aldo Nova's not.
I know. I would definitely trade the Nickelback star for the Aldo Nova star.
I didn't even know John Kay was Canadian.
He's technically not. He was born in Europe, spent some time in Canada as a kid. I think then they moved to Detroit, I want to say, somewhere in the States, maybe New York.
Wow.
I think when they started the band, he was Canadian, and he's got a crazy like a concentration camp story. I think he's a survivor of that, or his parents were.
Yeah.
He lived here in Nashville for a long time.
I'd like to get him on the show sometime. You know he's got some amazing stories.
So, Heavy Metal Thunder, man. Heavy Metal Thunder. He coined the phrase, right?
That's right.
All right, so that makes the score 2-1. We're starting it, keeping it tight. Chris's question. What is Van Halen's most popular U.S. song of the Van Hagar era?
Whoa.
Lee, you know Chris loves Sammy Hagar.
Yeah, he loves him.
Loves him.
I'm gonna say he knows this.
All right, Chris, you're such a huge Sammy Hagar fan. Who would bet against you? Your choices are When It's Love, Can't Stop Loving You, Why Can't This Be Love, or Love Walks In. Sammy Hagar, Van Hagar, a lot of love going on there. Which is their most popular U.S. song? Highest on the charts.
I think When It's Love was the first big one they had with him, so I'm going to say When It's Love.
That is incorrect. Actually, Why Can't This Be Love was the first big one that they came out with. It went to number 3. When It's Love went to number 5. Love Walks In was 22. Can't Stop Loving You was 30. So you were not bet against, and you got it wrong. No points awarded. The question goes back to Lee. According to Rolling Stone magazine's 500 greatest all-time songs list, what is the greatest song of all time? Chris, does Lee know it?
I'll bet against him on this one.
All right, Lee, you're being bet against. What is, according to Rolling Stone magazine, the greatest song of all time? Is it Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, Free Bird by Lynyrd Skynyrd, Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan, or Imagine by John Lennon?
I know Bob Dylan. I'm going to go Like a Rolling Stone.
That is correct. According to Rolling Stone magazine, that is the greatest song of all time.
Woo!
I don't know if I buy it.
Yeah, I'm sure they weren't biased at all with that pick.
Yeah, I guess it kind of they got their name from that song. Is that how it works?
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay. I never knew if it was. I always thought maybe it was the Rolling Stones. All right, Lee, you got it right, and Chris bet against you. That puts you up by 1. The score is now 3-2. Lee takes the lead. This is a good one so far. All right, Chris, your turn to try to bring it back. I got 4 well-known rockers here. I got their birthdays all lined up. We need to know who was born first. Lee, I'm giving him 4 guys. He's going to figure out who would technically be the oldest if they were all alive.
Right.
He's got to
bet against him. I'm going to say he's going to miss this one.
All right, Chris, you're being bet against on this one. Who was born first? Lemmy Kilmister, Ted Nugent, Glenn Hughes, or Robin Zander?
Oh, shit.
Lemmy, the Nuge, Glenn Hughes, or Robin Zander?
I'll say Lemmy.
That is correct.
Wow.
Lemmy was born in December of 1945, Ted Nugent in December of 1948, Glenn Hughes, 1951, Robin Zander, the youngest, in 1953.
Total guess.
So, you got it right, and Lee bet against you. So now, Chris retakes the lead by 1. The score is 4-3. And the question goes to Lee. This is a good one, man. Back and forth, neck and neck.
It's a slobber knocker tonight.
Which of the following albums charted the highest on the U.S. album charts in 1993? I got 4 albums here. We got to figure out which one charted the highest in 93. Chris, does Lee know it?
I'll say he knows it.
All right, you're not being bet against. You said you dropped off on music and new bands, I guess, in 1995, so you were still in it in 93. Which of these 4 albums charted the highest? Was it Poison, Native Tongue, Vince Neil, Exposed, Winger's Pull, or Fight's War of Words?
Oh my God! What was the last one?
Fight, War of Words.
Oh my Lord!
Poison, Vince Neil, Winger, or Fight?
You couldn't have given me like MC Hammer or something like that. Something obvious.
I have an idea on this one.
I'm gonna say, fuck. Fight? No. I'm gonna say. I'm gonna go with Fight. I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say Fight. Total guess. Fight.
That is incorrect.
Ooh, that's what I would have guessed.
That's what you'd have guessed, too. It was actually Vince Neil, charted at 13. Poison got 16. Winger at 41. And a dead last, Fight only charted at 83.
Really?
Yep.
Dead last. I picked that because it seems like that's the most timely song of the day, you know?
Yeah, that song Crazy, I thought did pretty well.
I guess late at night on MTV, but nowhere else. On Headbangers Ball,
Wow.
maybe.
That's wild.
All right, no points awarded. One more for Chris before the big money round. Which of the following acts were not included in the original Rock Never Stops tour in 1997?
Okay.
This is a big tour. It went on for many years. Lee, does Chris know who was on the tour in 97, the original?
No, he does not.
All right, Chris, you're definitely being bet against this time. Your choices are Alice Cooper, Warrant, Slaughter, and Rat. One of them doesn't belong.
Give me the choices again.
Alice Cooper, Warrant, Slaughter, and Rat.
Damn.
Rock Never Stops, 1997.
Shit. Was it Rat?
That is correct. The very
Was
first
it Rat?
The very first tour in 97 of the Rock Never Stops was Alice Cooper, Warrant, Slaughter, and Dokken.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
All right.
What a
So
lineup.
did you bet against him on that one?
I did. The geek knows his shit.
All
Man.
right. So there you go. You get them extra points. 2 of them there for you. That makes the score 6-3. But we all know, we've seen it in recent weeks here on Beat the Geek, what a big deal it is in the Kiss round, how quick things can turn around, and the Kiss round is now. Lee, your question. Which of the following movies do not feature a Kiss member? I've got 4 movies to list here. 3 of them feature members of Kiss, at least one, and 1 of them does not. Chris, does Lee know his Kiss cinema?
He's a big Kiss nerd like we are, Aaron, so I'm going to say he knows this one.
All right, Lee, 2 points on the line. You're not being bet against.
All right.
Which of the following movies do not feature a member of Kiss? 1999's Clubland, 2009's Frame of Mind, 2005's Remedy, or 2010's Expecting Mary?
What?
One of these movies does not belong.
Damn.
Really? All 4? Like, wow, man.
Aaron dug deep.
Jesus, I don't even recognize any of those 4 titles.
Wow.
Let me
Clubland,
go with-
Frame of Mind, Remedy, or Expecting Mary?
I'm going to go with Clubland. Clubland, baby.
That is correct. Wow, yes.
Deep pull, man.
Expecting Mary features Gene Simmons playing Taylor. Remedy features Ace playing Johnny. Frame of Mind features Peter Criss as Mike. But Clubland has got Steven Tyler in it from Aerosmith. So, Chris did not bet against you, but you got it right in the Kiss round. That's 2 points. Bringing that score right back up. 5-6. Chris has still got the lead. And now it's time for your Kiss round question.
Okay.
What city is Mark St. John buried in? Lee, if we were to go see Mark St. John's gravesite, would Chris be able to tell us where we need to go to do it?
I'm going to say he does not know where it is.
Big points on the line right now in the Kiss round. Chris, your choices are Chino, California, Carson City, Nevada, Salem, Oregon, or Whittier, California.
Oh, wow. I thought this was going to be easier than I expected. Give me the choices again.
Chino, California, Carson City, Nevada, Salem, Oregon, or Whittier, California.
Damn. It sucks because I'm like he gave lessons in Garden Grove and lived in Anaheim, so I'm having a hard time thinking of it's either Chino or Whittier. I'm gonna say Whittier.
That is correct. Wow! And in the Kiss round, you were bet against, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 points, bringing the score 10-5. The Kiss round does it again. Nice one.
It's the game, man. Mark St. John just screwed me.
Man, you guys are some damn good guessers.
Yeah, we just have no lives. That's all.
All right. Well, it's going to be pretty difficult to bring this one back, Lee, but you've got one more question, and this is it. According to iTunes, this is Bruce Springsteen's most popular song. Had to give him a boss question, Chris. Do you think he knows it?
Oh, yeah, I think he knows it.
These are sometimes tricky. All right, Lee, you're not being bet against. Your choices are Born in the USA, Dancing in the Dark, I'm on Fire, or Cover Me.
See, I would have said Born to Run. I would have obviously said that would be his biggest song, but out of that list, I'm going to say Dancing in the Dark.
That is incorrect.
What?
Really?
According to iTunes, Dancing in the Dark is Bruce Springsteen's 5th most popular song. Cover Me comes in at 26. Born in the USA is number 2. And according to iTunes and what people buy off of there, I'm on Fire is Bruce Springsteen's most popular song.
Really?
Wow.
Shocking.
Yeah, that's why I told you. Those are tricky sometimes at iTunes because it's all based on what people buy. So there's no real rhyme or reason to it. Just kind of a guess sometimes. So no points awarded on that one. Chris has got this one well in hand. But just for fun, we've got one more question. And this one goes to the Geek. And our returning champion looks like one more week. So what have you done for me lately? Which of these bands have most recently released a new studio album? I got 4 pretty well-known bands. We got to figure out which one most recently released a studio album. Lee, you want to bet against them? What the hell, right?
I mean, what the hell? But whatever. Who cares? I know Chris is going to know this, so no. Chris knows it, man.
All right. You're not being bet against, and the final question is yours. Your choices are Dokken, Kix, Kingdom Come, or Steelheart. Which of these bands most recently released a new album?
Give me the choices again.
Dokken, Kix, Kingdom Come, Steelheart.
Well, I don't know if this counts, but Dokken put out like a demos record last week.
New music.
So I guess. Oh, it has to be new music.
Most recently released a new studio album.
So Dokken, Kix, Steelheart, and who?
Kingdom Come.
Kingdom Come. Shit. I guess I'd say Steelheart.
That is correct.
Wow.
Nice one today, Chris. Man, that's an extra point to you. Yeah, Steelheart came out with an album called Through the Worlds of Stardust in 2017. Before that, Kix released Rock Your Face Off in 2014. Kingdom Come came out with Outlier in 2013. And Dokken hasn't released a new album of new music since Broken Bones in 2012.
Yeah.
So pretty good, man. You guys both did pretty good. Got some tough questions today. Did some good guesses. But, man, Chris ran away with this one after the Kiss round. So for 3 weeks in a row, you beat the Geek champion. Chris defeats Lee by the score of 11-5.
All right.
There's no shame in losing to the Geek, man. No shame
Well,
in losing to the Geek.
you still have us both beat on looks, so you're good.
Whatever. any day now, it's all going to fall apart.
Man, guys, this has been a lot of fun today. We're going to play your song on the way out for sure. That's going to be our play out song this week. But
Yeah, it's
I think I want to just say one more time, because it just blew my mind so much that we were ranked number 10 all time in not just rock, but all music history podcasts. I mean, we've been doing this show for a long time, but really what that whole thing is about is download numbers, and real people actually taking the time to download this show. And so many people have done that over the years. So this is more, I feel like, an accomplishment for our listeners than it is actually for us, because the listeners are the ones that download this show and have lifted us to be included. I mean, there's no other hard rock and metal shows on the list above us, but it makes me, and I know it makes Chris, feel damn good that a hard rock, and it doesn't matter who it was, if it was us or anybody else, but that a hard rock and metal show actually ranked in the top 10 really means that this music isn't dead, and there are enough people out there that give a shit about it that we are keeping it alive to be ranked that high. So thank you for everything you've done. Every time you've downloaded this show, every time you leave a iTunes review or a review anywhere else, you're lifting the show. So thank you to the listeners that have done this for us. And, thank you to all our guests that have been coming on the quarantine sessions, and thank you to our guest today, Lee McCormick.
Hell yeah, man. Congratulations to you guys. Like I said, I'm a fan, I'm a listener, and I'm a friend of you guys, and I appreciate it. And, this has been a lot of fun.
Can't wait for Rockin' Pod 2021, baby.
Yeah, we'll see you next August, Lee.
I'll be there for sure, man. This is going to keep the, the coals burning. I'm going to miss you guys this summer and the trip down to Nashville and Memphis, but we'll make up for it next year for sure.
Took her things and split. Back again on the losing end, 'cause we don't know when to quit. She left me blue and it felt so true. My love she wouldn't forsake. Gonna take a ride on the train to heartbreak. I paid my money at the station and headed down the track. Porter checked my one-way ticket and sat me in the back. Conductor came on speaker. Pulled out of the gate. Welcome aboard the train to heartbreak. Train keeps rolling, clickety clack, chugging on down the line. Locomotive engine humming mellow in my mind. Destination lonesome town, dragging a heavy load. Take my broken heart down that desolate railroad. But still I never learned. When you let the devil deal your cards, your heart is gonna burn. I played my hand and gambled on love, lost my only ace. Now I'm traveling on this train